Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ella and I have dermatillomania. I have done for my entire life and I thought I would come on here and chat about it, do an entire video on the subject of my skin picking because it's something that has had quite a significant impact in my life. It's been pretty significant for me, and yet I have never actually spoke about it on here, and I also don't see that many other videos about it, so why not? Let's do a whole video on picking my skin. So, cast your minds back. I've just developed teeth. And the first thing that goes into my mouth is my hands, and I am biting my nails. I am biting my skin. It started out with the nails. I have memories of being 7 years old and going to the doctor and having picked my skin on the side of my thumb so much that I had a whole pus blister there. Dermatillomania is a skin picking disorder, and it's not just, picking a little bit of loose skin or popping the odd spot. It's an obsessive compulsive disorder, so it kind of comes under the OCD category, I believe. And you end up going way past the point of just evening your skin out, and you actually end up making things 10 times worse. But the compulsion to do it outrides and overweighs any negative impacts that that this might have. So, as I got older, I knew that picking my skin, I wasn't going to like the outcome. I was going to bleed. I was getting infections in my fingers. Even just like 4 years ago, I think, I had such an infected finger. I think it was my middle finger. Literally went to the hospital from picking my skin. Again, had to have it completely drained, filled with pus. This isn't regular that it gets that bad, but it is still very much excessive. People with dermatillomania can pick all sorts of skin. You also have the hair pulling trichotillomania, which I think is a little bit more common, or I definitely had heard about more of before. As a child even, I knew that trichotillomania was a thing. I never knew that dermatillomania was a thing. I just thought I have a habit of picking my fingers, which it is also a habit. But yeah, I never knew that it had a particular name. And you can pick any part of your skin with dermatillomania. Some people focus more on their face, some people pick their legs, some people pick their feet. I honestly have done a little bit of all of that in the past, but my main issue, I would say, is my fingers. Now, looking at my hands from afar, I don't think they look that bad. They've definitely been in worse shape. Holding my hands up like this is something that I do a lot for work. I'm an actress and I often have to show my hands, and it's always the worst part of the audition process for me, is going like, look at my hands, because I've always had such a complex about my fingers because they've always been ripped to shreds. It's been pointed out. As a child, I was told that my boyfriend was never going to want to hold my hand if I carried on picking my fingers. Like, these things have a big impact. I have been in a group of strangers traveling in Peru and then point out my fingers and ask, like, what's going on with your hands? Like, are they okay? And it's always been such an embarrassing thing for me to talk about because it's just my hands, it's just what I do, and I don't even know when I'm doing it half the time. My triggers can be anything from stress and anxiety. Now, stress and anxiety are definitely the biggest two triggers for me. I'm stressed and anxious quite a lot, so turns out I end up picking my fingers quite a lot. But I could also just be bored or not being like mindful and just be off in my own head. And whenever I'm not fully focusing on what I'm doing with my hands, I'm picking my fingers. Like, it is just what happens. I'm either picking or biting my fingers. And so I'm going to bring them closer. This is not fun for me, but I wonder if you can see with this lighting. Now, I haven't actually got many bits that I've fully saw at the moment, other than this bit on my thumb, which I don't know if you can see. But you can see the discoloration from about here upwards in my fingers. Can you see that? And I notice when I am in UV light, basically from here upwards on every single one of my fingers is just scar tissue from 28 almost years of picking and constantly having bleeding and sore fingers. Fine from far away, go up close and you're like, why are they that colour at the end? But this is the current state of my fingers. Definitely not as bad as they used to be. There's a few things that I found helpful, but the biggest thing for me has been having Biab on my nails. I've been using Biab for the past year and a half. Biab is the same as Builder Gel, right? I've been using that on my nails, and so it's enabled me to grow my nails longer than I would usually be able to. These are actually quite short compared to how they've been for me. And you'd think having long nails would mean that I want to pick even more, but it definitely means that I pick less, because if I have a bit of skin that is bothering me, and when I say bothering me, I don't just mean like, oh, I've got a bit of rough skin, let's just get that off. I mean scanning each and every finger. Like, this is what I do when I'm just walking down the street. I'm going like this, and I am feeling for anything that I feel is bumpy or uneven, which is all of my fingers, because I pick my fingers all the time, so there's always bumpy and uneven bits. And as soon as I find one, I have to pick it. I have to pick it. If I don't, and the only reason that I ever might not is when my boyfriend says not to, which I did ask him to do at the beginning of the relationship, and then about 6 months in, I said, I regret asking you to do that, can you just let me pick my fingers? Because being told not to, or having my hand held so that I can't pick it, actually makes it so much worse. So I'm not quite sure how to stop. This isn't really a video where I'm going to be giving you like loads of tips and tricks on how to stop, because I have been solidly picking my fingers since a child, and I am still nowhere near being able to just never pick my fingers again. It's almost like a stress reliever, but it's not. Like, it's a stress reliever in the moment that I'm doing it, and then as soon as it's done and I've got 10 sore fingers that I feel like I can't pick things up with and are bleeding and don't look very nice, then it's a stress creator. So it's like a vicious circle of wanting to smoothen out my skin. I always have a bit of a funny thing with textures, that anything rough or uneven, it's just so irritating to me. So it's a vicious circle of wanting to smoothen out my skin, picking, going way too far with the picking. In turn, my skin is now completely uneven and bleeding, and then being really sad and disappointed in what I've done to my skin. It's a really weird condition. So as I said, having my nails done definitely helps to a certain extent. Otherwise, I would probably just go on and continue to bite my nails, but I don't do that anymore. And the only other thing that I've really found that helps is moisturising my hands. As I said, for me, it's like a texture thing. And so as soon as there's anything remotely dry or flaky feeling, or you know, that sort of texture. If I have moisturiser on my hands, it does feel like it smooths everything out, and it might stop me from picking for the next 10 minutes until the moisturiser has all gone into my hands and they feel dry again. And those are the only two things that I found that has helped me with my dermatillomania. But as I've said, I really don't have any tips. I just wanted to kind of open up this conversation, welcoming all of my dermatillomania friends out there. Let me know if you have trichotillomania or dermatillomania, and if you have any particular tricks or tips that you'd like to send my way to help me stop picking my fingers, because yeah, it does really affect my mental health, because I don't like showing my hands, and your hands are like, how are you not going to show your hands? Especially in the work that I do, hands are always there, really. And I do have a little bit of a complex of my hands, largely due to the fact that I often have very red and sore looking fingers. So if you have any tips, let me know. I did go to therapy. I mentioned in one of my videos previously, I went to therapy last year for the first time, and I've been wanting to go to therapy for a long time. And one of the things that I went for, or that I was planning on, you know, it helping, was my dermatillomania, but I just don't think she was the right therapist for that. I really don't think she understood the disorder, and I don't think she knew what to suggest to help it. So maybe I need to try out going to a skin picking specialist therapist. But yeah, anyway, this was a video just talking about my skin picking and the effect that it has on me, and opening up the conversation to anyone who has a similar experience to me, or has any tips or tricks on how to stop picking away at my skin so much that it bleeds and scars. Yeah, let me know. I hope you've enjoyed this video, a bit of a random one, and I will have a video coming up very soon of the bedroom transformation in our new flat, so stick around for that if you'd like to. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys!